The global technology landscape has become a battleground, with the United States targeting Chinese tech firms, especially Huawei. The campaign wasn't just about trade, it was rooted in national security fears. Washington worried Huawei's close ties to Beijing could enable espionage through hidden backdoors and critical networking equipment. Beyond spying, the US feared China's growing influence as Huawei built the backbone for 5G, threatening America's long-held dominance in setting global tech standards. This was seen as a direct challenge to US economic and political power. The fight against Huawei was about maintaining America's global leadership and preventing a future where digital infrastructure was controlled by a strategic rival. The US also accused Chinese firms of intellectual property theft and unfair trade practices, arguing that sanctions were needed to protect American innovation. The goal: cripple Huawei by cutting off its access to essential components and software. Ultimately, this was a preemptive strike in a larger geopolitical contest over who would control the digital future. The US believed that letting a company aligned with an authoritarian government build the world's digital highways would threaten the security and values of democracies. Huawei found itself at the epicenter of a struggle that would reshape the global balance of power. In 2019, the US launched sweeping sanctions to contain China's tech ambitions, placing Huawei on the Entity List. This blacklisting cut Huawei off from vital American technology, chips from Qualcomm, Google's Android, and more. The US escalated further, blocking any global company using American tech from supplying chips to Huawei, targeting giants like TSMC. The message: do business with Huawei, risk losing access to the US market. This forced allies and partners worldwide to pick sides in the tech war. The crackdown expanded beyond Huawei. Congress targeted TikTok, demanding its sale to a non-Chinese owner or face a ban, citing data and propaganda fears. Bans spread to other Chinese tech, from port cranes to autonomous vehicles, all justified by security risks. Multiple US agencies coordinated the assault, from the Commerce Department to the FCC, creating a digital iron curtain. New rules even restricted Chinese firms' access to US cloud data centers for AI training. The goal: halt China's tech rise and fortify America's digital fortress. China didn't sit back. It launched a massive push for tech self-sufficiency in response to US sanctions. Beijing ordered state enterprises to replace foreign software with domestic alternatives, creating a protected market for Chinese tech. US firms like Intel and AMD were banned from government systems, mirroring America's actions against Huawei. China used its huge consumer market as leverage, as seen when Tesla had to partner with Baidu and keep data in China to access the market. These moves ensured sensitive data stayed under Chinese control. US sanctions, meant to cripple China, instead fueled domestic innovation. Billions were poured into the semiconductor industry, and local champions were nurtured to close the tech gap. China accelerated development of its own operating systems, like Huawei's Harmony OS, to reduce reliance on Google and Apple. The strategy: if denied global tech, China would build its own, creating a parallel ecosystem. The tech war turned China's vulnerability into a catalyst for independence. Facing existential threats, Huawei didn't just defend, it pivoted aggressively. The company shifted from guarding its patents to licensing them globally, embedding its technology in rivals' products. This new revenue stream was immune to hardware sanctions, keeping Huawei's influence alive, even where its devices were banned. Licensing 5G, Wi-Fi, and AV patents turned intellectual property into an offensive tool, generating royalties from competitors. Simultaneously, Huawei doubled down on R&D, developing its own AI chip, the Ascend 910C, a viable alternative to NVIDIA's. This was a breakthrough for China's self-sufficiency in AI hardware. Huawei also built out its Harmony OS ecosystem, powering everything from phones to cars. In 2025, it unveiled innovative products like foldable laptops and the Mate XT Ultimate, all running on its own platform. CFO Meng Wanzhou declared Huawei's ambition to build a solid computing base in China and offer a global alternative. Huawei was no longer just surviving, it was building a parallel tech universe. The company's counterattack redefined its role in the global tech order. It became a symbol of resilience and strategic reinvention. Huawei's comeback is clear in the numbers. In 2024, revenues soared to $118.2 billion, a 22% jump, defying predictions of collapse. Its intellectual property licensing division became a major profit engine, earning $630 million in 2024, double its pre-sanctions revenue. This high-margin business lets Huawei profit from the global 5G rollout, no matter whose name is on the device. By 2024, Huawei's tech was embedded in 2.7 billion 5G devices worldwide, a number set to explode with the rise of the Internet of Things. Its patents are now foundational to the digital economy, powering everything from factory robots to smart homes. Huawei's own chips, like the Ascend 910C, captured a big share of China's AI market, now largely closed to US firms. Harmony OS is building a software ecosystem to rival Google and Apple. These figures signal a fundamental shift. Huawei is now an invisible engine behind much of the world's connected tech. The company's pivot has reshaped the global tech landscape. The numbers prove Huawei's strategy is working. Despite US pressure, Huawei forged powerful alliances with global giants. Amazon signed a multi-year patent licensing deal, gaining access to Huawei's wireless tech, essential for its logistics and devices. This showed the gap between political rhetoric and business reality. Companies need the best tech to compete. Germany's top automakers, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, BMW, also licensed Huawei's 4G and 5G tech, future-proofing their connected cars. These deals signaled Huawei's technology is world-class and indispensable. Partnerships with telecom leaders like Nokia further embedded Huawei's IP in global networks. By licensing its innovations, Huawei became a core supplier to e-commerce, automotive, and telecom sectors, even where its products are banned. The company's quiet influence ensures its relevance and revenue, regardless of politics. America's tech war with China hides a contradiction: deep U.S. reliance on Chinese technology, even in defense. A 2024 Governor report found 40% of the Pentagon's weapon systems use Chinese-made semiconductors. The Navy's newest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, contains 6,500 Chinese chips. The F-35 fighter jet relies on Chinese-processed rare earth minerals for its electronics. China dominates the global supply of these minerals, giving it leverage over U.S. military production. This dependence exposes a critical vulnerability far greater than any consumer app. Decoupling is complex. Decades of offshoring created tangled supply chains. While Washington bans Chinese tech from consumer markets, its own military remains a major customer. The American paradox: in a connected world, drawing clear lines is far harder than it seems. The US-China tech war has pushed Europe to seek digital sovereignty, aiming to avoid dependence on either superpower. European leaders want a third way, building their own tech capabilities and autonomy. Huawei's rise has shown that American dominance can be challenged, giving Europe more choices. Sourcing 5G infrastructure or licensing patents from Huawei provides leverage and encourages diversification. The EU is investing in its own semiconductor industry and tightening data privacy rules to assert control. Europe's partnerships with Huawei and other firms show a multipolar tech world is possible. The continent is determined to be a rule maker, not just a rule taker, in the digital age. Huawei's counterattack marks a turning point in global tech power. The US tried to cripple Huawei to preserve its digital dominance, but instead accelerated the rise of a formidable competitor. The tech race is now a contest between two major blocs, the US and China. China, led by Huawei, has built a self-reliant ecosystem, advanced chips, operating systems, and a thriving patent business. The once unified internet is splintering into regional splinter nets, with different standards and values. This fragmentation complicates global collaboration and innovation. The choice of tech is becoming a geopolitical statement. The US still leads in software and chip design, but its power has limits. China's resilience is closing the gap, making it a true tech superpower. The real outcome, a multipolar world with Huawei ensuring there's now a second option. This new reality will define the digital age for everyone.